This fence is in direct violation of the bylaws. It must be moved immediately or you will be heavily fined.
That's incorrect. I had this surveyed yesterday.
I stepped outside and almost tripped because a fresh metal post was jammed into the concrete path, with bright ribbon fluttering like it was marking my house for capture. It was June 11, 2024, around 7:20 a.m., and the air smelled like sunscreen and wet soil from last night's sprinklers. The morning was quiet except for a saw buzzing somewhere down the block. I followed the ribbon and saw it. A new section of fencing had been clipped across the side path near my yard line, like someone decided pedestrians were optional. This is a dramatized story, but the HOA tactics are real. Then the bored lady appeared, hands on hips, and said I was trespassing on community space. Here's what that path did. It was the only safe route to the mailbox cluster and the bus stop without cutting through the street. Kids used it. Dog walkers used it. My elderly neighbor used it with a cane, slow and steady. Blocking it meant forcing everyone into the road, and somehow the blame landed on me because the fence touched my corner. Control the path, control the complaints. That was the game. I tried asking nicely. I emailed the community office and asked who approved construction on a weekday morning. No reply. I called and got put on hold until the hold music started feeling personal. When I caught two neighbors outside and asked if they'd seen workers, they stared at my shoes like my laces were fascinating. One guy actually nodded at the fence like it was weather. The bored lady kept repeating, "It's for safety," while her eyes scanned my yard like she was shopping. So I switched to receipts and patience. I took photos from 3 angles, morning and evening, showing where the fence sat and where the ribbons marked the line. I measured the width of the path with a tape measure and filmed myself walking it before the blockage, so nobody could claim it was never used. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. Then I requested the official site map and maintenance approval record through the proper process, because trust me is not a policy. Timeline item 1 June 11th at 6:58 a.m. New fence panel appears across the side path. That time mattered, because the bored lady later claimed it was installed weeks ago. My camera said otherwise. I also noted the small details, fresh dirt at the posts, clean cut ends on the metal, and that new wood smell mixing with the rose bushes. You can't fake fresh. A few days later, a neutral property compliance specialist came out with a clipboard and an exhausted look like he'd seen this movie before. He asked the bored lady who ordered the work. She said, "It's community property, we can adjust it." He didn't argue. He just asked for the written approval and the map. The file landed with 57 pages. He flipped to the marked survey drawing and pointed at the ribbon post. He said, "This marker shows a boundary check. It does not authorize blocking a public access route." Then he added, "The panel you added is not in the approved plan." His tone was calm, but her face did the opposite. He told her the barrier had to be removed and the path restored, and that future changes required notice and proper review. Suddenly her safety project looked a lot like a personal power project. The next morning, workers came back and quietly took the panel down. The path opened like it could breathe again. My elderly neighbor tapped my arm, smiled, and said, "Thank you for not letting them push us into the street." The bored lady avoided my side of the block after that, and the community office finally answered emails like they remembered they had keyboards. Funny how fast rules change when the paperwork shows who made them up.